And what is going on, guys? Back Andrew Hayes with another video, another wrestling video. As always, I'm joined by my boy.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Film Fan 599. Your favorite wrestling duo is back for another wrestling video here today, and we're going to be doing a top 5 list.
Yeah, top 5 favorite high flyers in wrestling history. We decided to make it, all of wrestling ever, rather than WWE, which actually kind of changed up my list a bit. Anyway, you want to just get right to it?
Sure, let's get right to it.
Okay, same things as our normal top 5 list. If we have the same number, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever, we discuss it together. But anyway, I do have some honorable mentions. I don't know about you.
I do have a few, but I'll let you go first.
Okay. My honorable mentions include Kofi Kingston, Neville, RVD, Jushin Thunder Liger, and Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, shit. That's who I predicted to be his number 1, and it's not even on his list.
Yeah.
Well, shit. But my honorable mentions go as follow. Chris Jericho, Kofi Kingston, Jushin Thunder Liger. I probably fucked up his name, but he who was the, oh yeah, Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero was the last one.
I've had the pleasure of seeing Jushin Thunder Liger's only match in WWE. But
oh really?
Yeah, against Tyler Breeze.
Oh yeah, that's
NXT
right.
Takeover Brooklyn 1.
Ooh, nice.
Very underrated match. But anyway,
I agree, 100%.
Anyway, let's get right into it. I'll go first, as usual. And I know we're not going to agree on this one because my number 5 is Jeff Hardy.
Okay, nice. I'm just glad he's on the list, at least.
Okay.
I'm just glad he's on the list.
Honestly, this all came down to personal preference for me.
Yes.
A lot of these wrestlers are some of my favorite wrestlers of all time in my top 5. Even ones like Eddie Guerrero and RVD, they're like easily like Eddie Guerrero and RVD, 2 of my like top 20 favorite wrestlers. But it came down to personal preference. For me, as a high flyer, if it was wrestler, Eddie Guerrero would 100% be on this list. But I just, in terms of high flying, I like these for like their high flying abilities more, and Jeff Hardy definitely up there. I love how I've always said this: Shane McMahon is a poor man's Jeff Hardy when it comes to putting his body on the line, doing these crazy stuff. Jeff Hardy has done it first and has done it a lot better.
Yes.
Shane McMahon, God bless his fucking soul, but I think Jeff Hardy, just what he has done some crazy ass shit. And just how he has risked his pretty much life to put on, do these crazy shit for us, to put on an amazing show. And he like, even like as Hell in a Cell, he did that crazy thing where he was swinging and went through the table. Like, that was insane.
Yeah.
Like, the one that always sticks out to me when it comes to Jeff Hardy was right before the Royal Rumble, when he was, I forget what year, may have been 2009, when he was going to face Randy Orton for the
2008.
title. 2008. Okay.
Yes.
And he climbed up and did the swanton off of that through like the production, whatever. I forget what they called it, but like that was insane.
That's my favorite swanton bomb of all time.
Yeah, and like I think like I was already really sold on the feud, but like, and I was already sold on Jeff Hardy, but that really like made me go like, Jeff Hardy needs the world title. This feud, that was like a great feud, and like Jeff Hardy doing that really sold that to me. And just some of the other insane stuff, like when he got, speared while holding the titles, like that was insane.
Yeah, or SummerSlam 2009, where he fucking jumped off of that really tall ladder onto CM Punk through the announce table.
Yeah, or like even like again recently, like his match versus Shinsuke for the US title, he did the swanton onto like the hardest part of the ring. Like, and I imagine like that is not an easy bump to take.
Yeah.
So like he's like insane. And I mean, I've always appreciated his, he always reminded me of like Evel Knievel doing all these crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jeff Hardy's my number 5.
All right, my number 5 is the man that gravity forgot, the king of the cruiserweights, Neville. I love Neville. I always have. Ever since I saw him, the first time I ever saw him was in the ladder match against Bo Dallas, actually, at NXT Arrival. And I've always been impressed with his style of high flying ever since that matchup. He has one of the coolest finishers of all time with the red arrow. The dude is just athletic as hell. He really is. It's a shame that WWE never really, for the most part, I want to say, did much with him. But once he got, once the cruiserweight division got started and stuff like that, he was really the person that really elevated that division a lot and actually made it mean something, to be honest. And, there was a reason why they called him the king of the cruiserweights, and that's, pretty much what, why there. And the dude has done some really insane stuff. And he always, honestly, the fact that he has crawled into my top 5, beating out some legends and shit like that, has actually been quite impressive to me. So yeah, my number 5 is Neville.
Yeah, no, honestly, just missed my list. I feel like just all the other guys I think were just personally, again, it came down to preference, just better high flyers for me.
Yeah,
and a lot of them have just been in the business longer. So
yes.
So I mean, I definitely Neville deserves an honorable mention for me. But anyway, coming in at number 4 for me is Rey Mysterio.
Nice.
Rey Mysterio is easily for me the best, my favorite masked wrestler of all time. I mean,
same here.
Like, I love Thunder Liger. And what's funny, like, Rey Mysterio, I mean, okay, so, like, right at, like, the tail end of his first run in WWE, he was kind of slowing down a little bit. I knew it was due to, like, knee injuries and back injuries, but, like, he was kind of slowing down. And it kind of made me upset because I love Rey Mysterio. And then he came back, came back at the Rumble, and it's the best I've ever seen him, was at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
the best shape I've ever seen him in, and it's the best he looked in so long. And he's doing great right now, honestly, in my opinion. And I can't wait to see him do more in this little last WWE run. He's always someone that, like, you can't like hate him because he's always been the underdog and the biggest little man in WWE history. And I still find it funny that, like, the only time he's really ever been booed was in 2014 when he was the last entrant, and that wasn't his fault.
That wasn't his fault, though.
That wasn't his fault. But, Ray has always been someone, I love his quickness. I always loved it when, how he the flips he does and whatnot, and the 619 will be one of my favorite finishers, and the drop in the dime combo, that's always great. Just the
my personal favorite version is when he does the Hurricanrana, when he hits him and then does the Hurricanrana. That's always been my favorite version of the finisher.
Yeah, like what really sells him as a high flyer to me is his quickness.
Yes,
and all these guys are quick on my list, but like he's might be the quickest. And
yeah, I think out of the ones that are on my list, I definitely do think he is the quickest out of all of them. Like, just this dude is like fast as fuck.
Yeah, and when he's in great shape, he is fucking amazing. I love Rey Mysterio. He is great. Always will be one of my favorites. He is my number 4.
All right, nice. All right, my number 4 is John Morrison.
Okay, nice.
John Morrison has always been one of my favorite high flyers. What really sold me on him was when I watched his DVD. That way, it showed like how he does like his parkour and shit, and that's what really impressed me the most, and what elevated me to him becoming a personal favorite of mine. And I've always loved the stuff that the dude did, whether it be speaking of jumping up the Titantron, he used to do that a couple times. He used to jump off the Titantron, or remember at the Royal Rumble in 2011 when he when he was about to be eliminated, he literally jumped onto the barricade to prevent himself from getting eliminated.
Yeah.
I love a lot of his aerial moves, like the flying chuck, where he jumps off the rope and kicks you in the face. I love that. I love the Starship Pain. That's one of my all-time favorite moves. to be honest. The dude's always been once he repackaged himself as John Morrison, that's when I think he really became like a star, to be honest. And it's a shame that once again WWE really never did much with him. After he had that run with the Intercontinental title in 2009, WWE really didn't do much with him. He was in the title picture here and there, but like didn't really do much after that. And that's kind of what sucks. Like he was placed in a match with Snooki at WrestleMania. What the hell? But like
you were so mad about that.
Like, and could you blame him for that though? Like, but yeah, I love John Morrison. He's one of the most underrated wrestlers out there, and honestly, I think one of the best high flyers just ever. And yeah, definitely deserves to be on my list.
Definitely. I just didn't quite make my honorable mentions, but definitely someone that came to my mind when thinking about this.
Yes.
Coming in at number 3 for me is, oh man, hold on.
What happened?
No, my ear.
Oh, okay.
Coming in at number 3 is someone for me that has actually never competed in the WWE. But someone that I am a huge fan of, one of my favorite wrestlers working today, and just all around. I'll talk a little bit more about what I was going to say in my number 2, but my number 3 is Will Ospreay.
Okay.
This dude can wrestle and fly, and one of my favorite matches of this year is Will Ospreay versus Marty Scurll. And despite the fact that they both have amazing chemistry, I was just in awe in that match of what Will Ospreay was doing, and I'll talk a little bit more about some of the other matches he has had where I was just in awe of his like what he could do and whatnot. But Will Ospreay is definitely amazing. I'm not going to say too much now because I want to talk a little bit more about this guy with my number 2. So I don't have much to say about him right now. But my number 3 is Will Ospreay.
Cool. All right, my number 3 is Rey Mysterio.
Nice.
Rey Mysterio has always been one of my favorites. He's always been a high flyer that I've admired. Just like you, he's probably my favorite masked wrestler of all time. He's a guy that he is the definition of an underdog, to be honest. He's just a guy that really no one thinks that could, be as big of a wrestler as he is due to his size and stuff like that. Yet he's arguably one of the biggest wrestlers of all time. And, the dude has put on some great matches. I really loved a lot of the stuff that he did with Eddie Guerrero or Chris Jericho. That was really the first feud I ever watched him in, was his feud with Chris Jericho for the Intercontinental title at the time.
Yeah.
Like where he desperately wanted to get his mask off. That was really intriguing to me. And, and I've loved a lot of the stuff. Also is like his matches with Dolph Ziggler around that time too were really great.
Yeah, those were, especially the one at SummerSlam that year. That was a great match. And I think, Rey Mysterio is already an established guy, but that really put Dolph Ziggler on the map.
Yeah, honestly, like that matchup at SummerSlam was like my second favorite match of that whole night, to be honest. Like, it was a great match. And, like, Rey Mysterio's a guy, like, he's done some insane crap and shit. He's a very fast guy. Like you mentioned, like, I think out of all the guys on this list, he's definitely the quickest. He just moves like a fucking cheetah. Like, he really does. Like, you can't ever see where he's coming from because he just moves so fast. And like you said before, the 619 is one of my personal favorite finishers as well. I just love it where he just, every time I see the opponent go onto the second rope, I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. And then, he kicks him in the face, either whether it be he does the Hurricane Rana, does the splash, or, does like the, like when he, puts his legs in, like kicks him down. Like it's always great. Like I love the many variations he's done of the move. Even he does it with like the frog splash now, I think. So yeah. And it's also great to see him back too, because this is definitely, I think, the best shape I've seen him in quite some time, to be honest. Because I know in like 2012, like 13, 14, around that time, he was kind of like just Yeah, he was kind of like losing some steam, and I kind of felt bad for the dude because I know he loves wrestling a lot, and he just was losing steam. But now he's like arguably in like the best shape he's been in years. So I'm really glad to see him in like this kind of, I guess you could say like this little final run that he's having in WWE. So I can't. So yeah, Rey Mysterio is a wrestler I've always respected and loved, and yeah, definitely deserves to be on not only just the greatest high flyers list, but greatest wrestlers of all time in general.
All right, so my number 2 is actually the current NXT North American champion. That would be Ricochet.
Okay.
So what I wanted to talk about is that Ospreay and Ricochet have had some matches before that have been great, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about them. I remember like there was this whole thing before Ricochet signed. It was like, who was the best high flyer in New Japan? Was it Ricochet or Will Ospreay? And I just loved that whole thing with them. And I just remember when Ricochet got signed and he had his Ospreay had his match with Scroll. The thing that was brought up was like, he's the best high flyer in New Japan now. Ricochet ain't around to do that. And I totally agree that, Ricochet is probably the best high flyer in New Japan. But in my opinion, when it was, Ricochet versus Ospreay, who was the best high flyer, I would have given my vote to Ricochet just because of how seamless he does these moves. I've had the privilege of seeing Ricochet live, and it is I like everything he has done. I was in awe of how effortlessly he does everything. It's just so amazing. And then, at TakeOver War Games 2, he does that double moonsault, like double rotation moonsault.
Yeah.
Off the top of the cage. That was awesome. And
that blew my balls off. I was like, the fuck did I just see?
I loved seeing, him do the 630 senton. That was awesome, and it just he is currently one of my favorite wrestlers right now, and definitely one of my favorite high flyers.
Yeah, for
number
sure.
2 is Ricochet.
All right, nice. All right, my number 2 is Rob Van Dam. This guy, man, from the stuff he's done in ECW, the WWE, the dude is just an insane high flyer. One of my all-time favorite high-flying moves is the Van Terminator, where he takes the chair, puts on the opponent, and he goes springboarding coast to coast onto the chair through the opponent. It's pretty cool. And the dude just has, charisma. The dude, he's just cool. Like he exertifies coolness to me. He really is. He's just a chill guy that will get the job done in the ring, and it's awesome. I love the moonsault that he does, where he springs off the top rope, springs it onto the opponent. I love that. I love the Rolling Thunder, and his variation of the 5-star Frog Splash is my all-time favorite version of the Frog Splash, to be honest. I know some people criticize it for him really overselling it, but I think that's what makes the moves so much more impactful, to be honest. And it's just he's honestly really awesome. He's been one of my favorites for years, to be honest. And yeah, I've always loved Rob Van Dam. He's always been an awesome high flyer, and yeah, truly one of the best.
All right, so on to our number 1. I know what his number 1 is.
Number uno. I actually have no clue what his number 1's going to be.
My number 1, it's actually funny. I was
funny you say.
Okay, so I looked, and this guy's most certainly a high flyer, but like he didn't come to my mind when I thought of high flyers. When I thought of high flyers, I mean, the first person that comes to my mind was honestly Jeff Hardy.
Yes.
Rey Mysterio, I would say Eddie Guerrero, RVD, Ricochet, all people that came to my mind immediately. So I Googled best high flyers in wrestling history, just to see if I missed anybody. And I looked at a couple people's list, and the one constant was this person. And I go, I can't not put this person as my number 1. and you'll know why in a second. My number one is AJ Styles.
Ah, okay.
I have said this numerous times. AJ Styles is my second favorite wrestler of all time. And I actually saw a couple of people put Shawn Michaels, but the difference I think between okay, so there's a couple people that I saw that you could argue as a high flyer, but like Shawn Michaels is more of a technical wrestler to me than a high flyer. Yes, he does the elbow and does a little bit of high flying moves, but like I just don't consider him a high flyer. I consider him more of like a technical wrestler.
Yeah.
AJ Styles has the technical aspect, but I think at his core, he is a high flyer, especially in his early days. He still does a lot of high flying.
Yeah,
now.
That's why I put Chris Jericho in my honorable mentions, because in his early days, he was a high flyer.
And like he was another guy where I thought about maybe, but like ultimately, I personally couldn't consider him a high flyer, especially like with how he is now and what my favorite stuff he's done.
Yeah.
AJ Styles, I think, is a high flyer.
Yes.
I mean, one of his finishing moves is the phenomenal form. He does the springboard 450, does all these high flying moves all the time. What haven't I said about AJ Styles that I won't be repeating myself? But the answer is not because I've said how much I love this guy. He's my second favorite wrestler of all time, and definitely my favorite high flyer of all time.
Nice. Pretty much to his chagrin too. I think no one should be surprised with what my number one is, and my number one is Jeff Hardy. But real quick, I want to mention someone that I forgot to mention beforehand in my honorable mentions, and that is Seth Rollins. Actually,
yes, you know what? You're right, Seth Rollins.
I forgot to mention Seth Rollins.
He wouldn't have made my list only because I like
I like the other five more, but he definitely
I like the other five more, and it's like if it was again like with Guerrero, if it was top 5 best wrestlers out of these guys, Rollins 100% makes the list. But like I like Seth Rollins does some other stuff.
Yeah, for sure. But I wanted to mention him because he definitely deserves to at least be an honorable mention. So
yes, he would have made an honorable mention for me.
Yeah, but Jeff Hardy for me. What haven't I said about him that I've said already a billion times already? But I'll just leave it at this: the dude has done some of the craziest things, arguably the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life. The dude has jumped from ladders to Titantrons to production trucks. Even the dude has just done it all, and what's left for him to jump off of, to be honest? What's next? Is he gonna jump from like a spaceship onto into the arena? Like, the dude has done it all. He is the craziest daredevil in wrestling history. There is just no one like him, and there never will be anybody like him. They've tried to duplicate him with multiple people, to Shane McMahon, but just no one compares to Jeff Hardy for me, really, honestly. And not only just high flying, but just wrestling in general. Just nobody compares to Jeff Hardy for me. I love Hardy to death, and he's done the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life. So, yeah, Jeff Hardy's my number one. I think I've already said enough already that I've said before, but like, the dude is awesome, and I love him to death. And he's actually celebrating his 20-year anniversary with the company today, so that's pretty awesome.
Nice. One thing I forgot, like you said, the Shane McMahon thing about Jeff Hardy. One thing I forgot to mention about Rey Mysterio is like how much they've tried to replicate Rey Mysterio.
Oh yeah, Sin Cara, Kalisto. They've tried with so many people.
Even they tried like making like the next Mexican star out of Alberto Del Rio, and that obviously didn't work out. Quite frankly, no one can replace Rey Mysterio.
Exactly, because like you can't replicate some people. Like you can't replicate Hardy, you can't replicate Mysterio, you can't replicate Van Dam. You just can't replicate a lot of these guys because they just had something to them that not a lot of people had.
Yeah, but anyway, that is it. I don't know when TLC exactly is. But
the 16th.
Okay, so the week of the 16th. We will be doing our previews and the predictions, and the week after we will be doing our review. Also, Coming up, we have our top 10 favorite wrestlers of the year and top 10 favorite matches of the year. It is the end of the year. I know it's kind of weird because we started kind of in the middle of the year. So
well, who cares? We could who cares? But next year we will But next year, for the first time, we will do the full calendar year, which I cannot wait for.
So like right now, like it's kind of weird. Like we've been doing this competition thing, and like I'm up, and I go, dude, like I'm gonna be honest. Unless I majorly mess up, I think I got this, and it's not like I don't know. It's because we agree so much. Unless I go, you know, unless I like again, I majorly like just goof, like have my I'm taking the leader of worlds over B team moments. Like I think I got this, but you know, you never know. Maybe it will happen. Maybe
yes,
Vince has it out for me.
Vince has it.
But anyway, thank you guys for watching. It's a bit of a short video, but I mean the top 5s will probably be like that.
Yeah.
But please comment, like, subscribe onto my stuff. And Double Nine, you can plug whatever you need to plug.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching. Of course, check out my channel, FilmFan0599. You know, and yeah. Thank you once again, Andrew, for having me on, my boy.
All right, and just remember, guys, to holler if you hear me.
Yeah.